La 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 la.
Check.
Smartpunk.
Hi, I'm Nick Noble with Smartpunk Live, and we are at Riot Fest Chicago. I'm here with Shawna from War on Women, awesome band from Baltimore.
Thank you.
What would you say are the influences that you pull from the city that you're from?
Oh man, actually I think for me personally, as a non-instrument player in this band, most of the influences are the local non-profit DIY protest community.
Yeah.
You know, of just giving a shit and speaking your mind and doing something about it. It's pretty inspirational. I wouldn't say that I don't use their protests as my lyrics or anything, but because that would be really shitty of me.
Right.
But just the energy and the passion, and is just inspirational, and especially because we don't have a choice. Like, our city is really horrible to marginalized people, and so I don't want to say that it's admirable that people are so fired up. They literally don't have a choice because they're exhausted of being pushed down. So that can't help but seep into what we do.
Did you guys, were you a part of any of the marches or any of the protests after the whole Freddie Gray?
Yeah. When we, so for some of that we were on tour, which was actually really hard for us to be away from our city during that time. I think when we first started hearing it, we hadn't left town yet, and I just remember feeling like, wait, are you sure this is Baltimore? Are you sure this isn't supposed to be some other city? Yeah. Right? Is this not Detroit? You know, and then you realize, God, Baltimore is a rough town, and it's really unfair to black people and other marginalized people.
Yeah. Are you a fan of The Wire?
Yes. Yeah. I think I can say I'm a fan of The Wire because I'm not originally from Baltimore. Okay. And so it's I've lived there for over 10 years, but I wasn't born there. So I think I can appreciate it more instead of feeling cynical about it. So I understand if anyone that's from there is cynical and more just that's not our life.
For sure.
But
that's
but
not
it certainly captured some stuff.
Band that changed your life. I read an interview, you said Hole. So I wanted to have a little chat about Courtney Love. Okay. What do you, obviously, when things came out, way back when, it affected you. It had you play music, had you sing, inspired you to be an artist. What are your thoughts on her personally?
Well, it's really complicated.
Yeah.
I think it can be summed up by the idea that, and I'll just speak for women, right? But I think this could apply to a lot of different marginalized groups of people. As a woman, I am so starved for role models that it was a lightning bolt hitting me when I actually saw Courtney Love playing guitar on MTV. Yeah. It was only in that moment that I realized I could do that too. Yeah. She's not that great, and that's fine. But it was passionate, and she was playing, and she looked comfortable doing it. I wholeheartedly believe that you can't be what you can't see, and that it's really important for kids to feel represented. I mean, adults too, but it's a really valuable time to see someone that looks like you do something important or powerful or something you relate to. So just seeing her do that, if I didn't see her in that dumbass Doll Parts video, I don't know that I would be in a band today. I don't know if I would have started playing music. Yeah. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on the whole conspiracy of how she may have been involved in the murder, or if it was a murder, if it was a suicide?
Again, so starved for role models that
I completely understand.
I wouldn't be surprised by anything at all that is attached to her name. Yeah. It doesn't take away the importance of her and my musical life, but I'm about justice being served. Whatever is true, and I wouldn't deny it. I'm not a Cosby denier or something, you know?
Sure. I wanted to talk about the band name. I want to bring up the F word that so many people are afraid of, feminism. So War on Women is feminism. It's a term pulled from Republican policies towards women in America. So especially this election cycle, I feel like it's more divided, especially since one side literally has a woman to vote for. what percentage of the Republican electorate would you guesstimate are terrified of the word feminism?
90?
90?
90%, yeah.
And then
Science.
what about all of America? Because it's not just Republicans, obviously. It's something deep-seated within us.
I'll tell you what. I'll jump to the end. I won't even answer your question. I'll jump to the end of it.
Yeah.
And I'll just recommend anyone at all listening to this to read a book called We Were Feminist Once. It just came out like this year or last year. It's an amazing read. It's a really easy read, and it basically outlines the beginnings of like feminism as we know it, like from the 1800s, and the intense campaigns to badmouth it and to work against it, and how those campaigns work so well, and what feminism has turned into, which is just like anything. It's totally co-opt, meaningless, mainstream term. And so if you're wanting to know why feminism is such a bad word and why it's actually not, then read We Were Feminist Once. It's a great book.
Dream band to tour with, either alive or dead. I know you guys have already toured with.
As a band, I mean, we've gotten to tour with Propagandhi and Flag. Flag and Anti-Flag, you know.
Yeah.
I'd like
all the flags.
pit them against each other, you know. But I feel like we need to go on tour with Against Me, right?
Yeah, just can someone out there do that?
Against
Me. That would be amazing.
Be pro me.
That would be amazing.
We did get to play a few shows with Refused.
Oh, cool.
And I would love to do an entire run with them. I don't know, Katy Perry, too?
That would be wild. I'm sure
Beyonce?
the production would be really cool.
Yeah.
Spinning.
We would make her look
candies.
good. You know,
I'm sure.
we don't have as many costumes. We have plenty of costumes, but not as many.
I also wanted to ask, just personally for me, and I mean, it would be great for everyone to hear it, but as like you said, coming from a place of privilege, me being a white CIS male, just born into what I was, I'm thankful for everything that I have, but I also kind of feel like a little confused on where to find my place or where to help out with feminism. What would you say to someone in my position of, I obviously read the book that you recommended.
Yes, read that book. We Were Feminist Once. So informative. I would say I'm always a fan of voting with your dollar.
Yeah.
Where you actually spend your money matters. So small businesses, woman-owned, black-owned, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So there's that aspect. Made in America stuff, union-supported stuff, instead of fast clothing, or cheap, overseas plastic crap that we don't need. So there's
Donald
that.
Trump suits
exactly.
something in India.
Then there's also just the everyday, when you see street harassment, call it out.
Right.
Whether it's your friend or a stranger, if you see it happening, just say, hey man, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And let that woman know that you have her back, and let that guy know that he needs to shut the fuck up.
Definitely.
I think those are two very easy things people can do that they need to start doing consistently. And you can get better at it. But really, it comes down to just listening. Listening to the women in your life. As a man asking about feminism, it's about listening to the women in your life and seeing what they're really saying, what they really need, and supporting them to accomplish it. What
is one thing that has influenced your music that people would be surprised to hear? Maybe a guilty pleasure musically?
No guilty pleasures.
No?
All pleasures. I mean, Brooks and I literally definitely listened to Katy Perry.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
Her acoustic MTV performance with the stand-up jazz bass player. I know I might be getting into the deep ends of the Katy Perry.
I haven't seen that, but
nerdom.
I obviously have to check it out.
Please do. Yeah, her version of "I Kissed a Girl" during that is phenomenal.
So I don't know if that actually makes it into our music. I'll be honest, but I think the secret is listening to as much different stuff as you can, because you never know where the influence is going to come from.
Shawna, I appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the Smartpunk Nation?
Feminists do it better.
Yep, no argument against that.
And bitches get shit done. So
there you go. All right, Shawna, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome speaking
Smartpunk.
Yeah, and I'll see you around.
I want to choose you.
Yeah.
Feminism. Feminism. Yeah.